I'm gonna pin. Hello. Hi, everyone. Welcome. My name is Camille, and I am the community manager at the Village. Take your time entering the space. We have a few moments left before we begin. If you have access to the chat, feel free to let us know how you're feeling about tonight's session. I'm feeling super excited to learn more about what foods to eat in the summer to better nurture my body. So I'm very looking forward to that. Hello. Just a few more minutes. And so tonight we are joined by our lovely Denise Gamotin. Denise is a yoga and mindful movement facilitator at the Village. She is a student of traditional Chinese medicine, music lover, ocean lover, and feeler of all feels. She will be sharing tips from traditional Chinese medicine for a healthy transition to summer tonight. We do recommend remaining muted. However, there will be opportunities throughout the session where you can come off mute and share your thoughts or any questions you may have. Also, you're more than welcome to leave those in the chat. Super excited for tonight's class and very much needed. Yes. Before we get started, please feel free to grab something to write with, some facial or body oil, a spoon or gua sha tool is optional, same with body oil or face oil. Grab yourself a drink and get comfortable. This session will be recorded, so feel free to have your camera on or off, whatever feels good to you. We ask that you stay engaged and involved and come with a curious mind. You're more than welcome to take and tag us in any pictures that you might take during the session. We just ask that you're mindful and respectful of others with what you share.
Thank you so much, Camille, for that intro. So welcome to my workshop. It's an intro to traditional Chinese medicine. Throughout the workshop, I'll be saying TCM a lot, and that just means traditional Chinese medicine. And for the next hour or so, we'll be taking a sneak peek into this ancient medicine that's very rich and complex and detailed and sometimes difficult to grasp and understand. So there's a lot of information to cover under this topic of traditional Chinese medicine. So I just want to let you know that I will not be taking the responsibility of covering all the important theories, all the principles, all the aspects of the medicine. And you will not be walking away from this workshop with a full understanding of everything there is to know about TCM. So we're really just skimming the surface of the basics. It's just TCM 101, and it'll be super accessible, not lectury at all. Maybe sometimes a little lectury, I don't know, we'll see. I'll be taking you through some steps of how to have a beautiful, healthy transition from springtime to these fiery, summery months. And I'll be mainly focusing on Chinese medicine, nutrition, as well as self-massage, or what we call acupressure or meridian massage. And there will be some pauses and moments for connection and interaction, some demonstration for massage techniques, and you'll get a chance to try the techniques on yourself as well. So we'll have some fun. Maybe we'll have some laughs. I don't know. It'll be a sweet night. And then you could tell all your friends about it. It's going to be great. So yeah, I also just wanted to mention the recommended materials that was mentioned. They're all completely optional. You could have a notebook and pen if you want to make some notes, if you want to jot down your feelings and journal at any point. I also mentioned facial or body oils, almond oil, coconut oil. Right now, I just have almond oil with me. I was like frantically looking for my arnica cream, but I couldn't find it. But I have that with me. And again, the tools such as the gua sha tool, the spoon, or the jar lid, they're all completely optional. If you've never heard of gua sha before, this is what it looks like. They're very trendy and popular on social media. They're used a lot on the face for cosmetic reasons. You could also use a jar lid. Yeah, I think there was one Villij candle with a really nice gua sha jar lid that you could use. But yeah, so you definitely don't need all of these tools. I'll be first demonstrating on how to do it with your hands and your thumbs first. And then the second option will be to use these tools if you have them available. So if you need a moment to grab these things, I'll give you a moment. If you don't want to grab these things, you could take a moment to get comfortable, light a candle, burn some incense, get a glass of water, whatever you need to feel good in your space. Maybe you want to do some neck rolls. Maybe you want to shake it out a little bit, take your arms out, doing all that. And before I get into the rest of the slides, I'm just wondering, this is completely optional. I know Simon just disappeared, but if we want to just turn our cameras on just for a moment, just to make that small little connection to see all of the beautiful faces in the room. I know that this isn't something that everyone is always comfortable with, but it's nice to just like turn your camera on, give a little wave. Yay, hi. Look at all of the beautiful faces in the room. Beautiful. I love it. Yay. Awesome. Oh, hi. Wonderful. So yeah, thank you so much for doing that. You're more than welcome to keep them on or off, whatever you are into. I have to get used to switching the share screen because I'm going to be popping on and off a lot. So yeah, thank you for that. That's nice. I like seeing who's in the room. So why don't we start with arriving in this space as a community. I'm going to invite you all to breathe with me. We're going to do a short little meditation, and then we'll do a little breath. I'm sure some of you are familiar with our card game called Just Checking In. This is a wellness card game. It has a bunch of props, some questions to find a deeper connection with the people around you. And so the one card that I have prepared is take a moment to take three deep breaths together. So we'll be doing this in a moment. But for now, why don't we just get settled in our seat? And you could start to just rock back and forth. You could rock side to side. And then once you find your seat bones, once you find your center, start to feel the ground underneath your feet. So maybe your toes are on the ground. Maybe the pads of your foot are on the ground. Maybe your heel or your entire sole of the foot is on the ground. Just noticing that connection. Maybe closing down the eyes if you feel comfortable doing so, if you feel safe. If not, you could offer a soft gaze in the eyes. And then we could just roll our shoulders up towards the ears, rolling the shoulders back down. Really feeling comfortable in your seat. So you don't have to force that nice long spine. You could slouch in your seat if that feels more comfortable. Just having a more passive seat, a more passive posture. Maybe allowing the back of the hands to rest onto your thighs so that your palms are facing up, ready to receive whatever the universe has in store for us today. And just noticing the quality of your breath. Noticing the connection underneath your feet. Notice any of the sounds around you. Maybe you hear the sounds around me. It's picking up on my mic. Just noticing, being aware of whatever is here. Noticing the support underneath your seat bones, underneath your seat. And noticing that ground, that connection between your feet and the earth underneath you. And really feeling that gravity, letting gravity do its work here. Feeling the gravity pulling you closer towards the earth. And just making room for the idea that gravity is proof that the earth wants you here. Gravity is proof that the earth wants you here. The earth wants to support us, wants to have that connection with us. And from here, noticing where your center is. And for you, maybe your center is something that is static. It's always the center of your body, whatever that means for you. Or maybe your center changes depending on the day, depending on how you're feeling. So maybe your center is your pelvis. Or maybe your center is in and around your belly button. Maybe your center is your heart space. Or maybe your center is your third eye, the space in between the eyebrows. If it resonates with you, maybe placing one hand on your center, feeling that connection with your body. And then noticing the connection from the center all the way down to the soles of your feet, to that connection with the earth. Maybe imagining roots growing down from the soles of your feet all the way down to the earth center, to the earth's core. As you breathe in, you could start to breathe in from the earth's core to your own center. And as you breathe out, you could start to breathe out your energy, your chi, sharing it with the earth into the earth's core. And doing that a few times, feeling the connection grow even stronger. And whenever you're ready, let's take 3 collective breaths together as we deeply inhale in through the nose, sighing it out through the mouth. 2 more times like this. Deep inhale, steady exhale. 1 more inhale, breathing in everything you want and need. Sighing it out. Letting go, letting go, letting go of anything that isn't serving you today. Start to release that hand down. Start to wiggle the fingers, the toes. You could nod your head from side to side. Maybe bring your chin towards your chest. Start to blink open the eyes. Start to bring your gaze up. I'm just getting used to that screen again. Welcome. I hope that was helpful to arrive in the space and community. And I'm just going to pick one more card from the deck, just to have an intention, just to have a thought. This is a prompt that asks, what is one self-care practice you would like to start? One self-care practice you would like to start. And if nothing comes up right away, don't worry. You have a full hour to think about it. Maybe something came up right away, and then maybe it'll change after this workshop. So just keep that in mind throughout our time together. Yeah, so a bit about me. Camille shared a little bit, but most of you know me as a movement guide, a meditation guide. I've done a lot of Trap Soul Yoga events, both virtually and in person. I'm also a TCMP student, traditional Chinese medicine practitioner student. I completed the first 2 years of the Acupuncture and Moxibustion program, and I'm currently in my 3rd and last year for herbal medicine. I have a certificate in Advanced TCM Diet and Nutrition, and I'm able to do cupping, gua sha, tuina, which is an Eastern massage practice sort of thing. And I think that's all that I'm allowed to do without having a registered license. So yeah, I'm allowed to give you advice on food. Again, I'm a lover of all things related to food, music, and natural and holistic medicine. I'm very curious about all of those topics, so I'm open to learning more. And I just love the idea of food and how it creates community, how it brings you closer together with friends and family. And yeah, I think it's really beautiful. So this is our little agenda for the next hour. I'll be attempting to introduce the traditional Chinese medicine subject, and then we'll touch on food therapy, TCM nutrition, and then we'll go into some fun self-massage techniques. So to start things off, I'm going to ask you first how the transition from spring to summer makes you feel. You're more than welcome to add this on the chat, or just keep in mind that we are recording this session. So if you do want to unmute yourself, it will be added to the recording. So you're more than welcome to either raise your hand, and then I could unmute you, or you could just add it on the chat. I know this might be easy for some people. Yay, excited. Me too. I'm just going to close the window because there's a lot of people having fun outside. I hope that's better. So Andrew's excited. I'm a Leo, so my birthday is coming up and I celebrate my birthday month. The sun gives me life. I love being brown and glowy, so I love the idea of summer. Saima, less sleep. Sorry. Simon's feeling more alive and more energy. Yes, I love that. Janice, excited, feels reinvigorating. Beautiful. And then the transition was rough. Winter took long to come. Spring has brought its beautiful energy, and I'm here for it. Wonderful. Feeling excited but tempted by all the ice cream trucks. Yes, I'm going to touch on ice cream today. Okay. Okay, awesome. Thank you for sharing. And then I was also wondering if you have any summer routines or rituals, any self-care daily practices for this particular season. Transition brings tears to my eyes. Winters are so long, and I feel like I've been going through personal winter of my own. Summer being around the corner makes my heart sing. Yes, I love that. I love that so much. Beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. So if you do want to share any routines and rituals, I'll say for me that I'm really bad at routines. I kind of just go with the flow, but I tend to wear less makeup in the summer. So I really focus on like an oil skin routine just so that I'm just automatically glowing. So I'll try to do more gua sha. If you've never heard of gua sha before, gua sha is known as like scraping. It's scraping. So it's a massage tool, and it has smooth edges. It's common if you buy it at Winners or Sephora to be made out of jade or rose quartz. And there's techniques that you could do to like lift your face and smooth the skin. It's great for puffy skin or edema in the face. So it's great to move like stagnation of chi or energy, and it really makes your skin more radiant. So I try to do more gua sha in the summertime, and also on my breaks be outdoors and get some natural sunlight. So let's see what everyone else is saying. Spend more time outdoors on trails, make an effort to visit more parks and gardens. Grounding has been great, beautiful. Spring cleaning, clearing out winter wardrobe, bringing out the sandals. Yes, going to retreats and outdoor yoga classes. Skin gets super dry, so dry brush and oil. Awesome. All awesome stuff. You're on your way. Thank you. Gardening. Yes, I wish I knew how to garden. Outdoor swimming laps, hot water and lemon in the morning, unlimited brunches with friends, spring cleaning, decluttering. You guys are awesome. That's so wonderful. All of that sounds so great. Okay. Thank you everyone for sharing. You're more than welcome to add if you didn't get a chance to share and people could read it. But let's start with the intro to Chinese medicine. So traditional Chinese medicine is a holistic and quite an effective system of medicine and healing that originated thousands of years ago in China and it evolved over the years and still continues to evolve to this day. So it's a practice rooted in the observations of nature and a profound understanding of the human body. So under this larger umbrella of TCM, there are many modalities, including acupuncture, nutrition or food therapy, herbology, cupping, gua sha, tuina, which is the Chinese medical massage, tai chi, qigong, and moxibustion. And so the main thing that acupuncture is known for is to be good to treat pain, right? So acute and chronic pain. But a lot of people don't know that it's effective for so many other things, including allergies, some psycho-emotional issues. I treat a lot of patients with anxiety and depression, and it's very effective for people living with addictions. It could help with gastrointestinal issues, women's health, pre and postpartum stuff that's going on, period irregularities, infertility. It can help with headaches, migraines, troubles with sleep, skin issues, whether it's eczema from childhood or an acute skin issue. So many things. This is just a short list because it could also help with neurological conditions, strokes, epilepsy, autoimmune disorders. It could help with cancer and chemo patients. So it's quite an impressive scope and a very powerful medicine. I like to call it magical but there is more scientific evidence around it that I don't fully understand, or maybe care to understand at this point, because that just means like reading all of these scholarly medical articles, and it's hard for me to understand those articles, but I'll get to it one day, I'm sure. So yeah, on this slide, we'll just breeze through, or I'll try to breeze through some of these TCM concepts and ideas. And some of you may be familiar with most of these terms and ideas. And the first one being yin and yang. So if you're my age, you probably are familiar with that symbol of the yin and yang, very popular and trendy in the 90s with the temporary tattoos and the chokers. I remember making like friendship bracelets with the peace sign and the yin and yang symbol. So that's pretty cute. But in traditional Chinese medicine, the yang symbol means sunshine and the yin means shadow. So things facing the sun pertain to yang, while things opposite to the sun pertain to yin. In our program, we talk about the intro to this concept of yin and yang over about 2 months, or even more than that. And we pretty much talk about it in every course we take, and it's so important and relevant in everything that we do. And the idea of yin and yang is all relative and all contextual. The main sort of principle that we all follow is that in order to be healthy, you must always work towards this balance of yin and yang. So I'm just going to talk a bit more about yin and yang. So we have to maintain this balance. Maybe I'll just say this is yin, this is yang. And so disease happens if yang is in excess and yin is still down here, or if yin is in excess and yin is still down here. Or disease could happen if yang is deficient, or if yin is deficient, and we're just like working to maintain this balance at all times to be healthy, to generally be healthy. And then on top of that idea, everything inside of us and around us is designated to either being yin or yang. So the sun is yang, the moon is yin. Heat is yang, cold is yin. Summer is yang, winter is yin. And then inside of us, again, everything is relative, everything is contextual. So the head is the most yang part of the bodies, while the feet and the lower parts of the bodies are more yin. The yang meridian channels are the channels where the energy or the qi, it's called qi, flow throughout the body. So the yang channels are on the posterior or the back and the lateral surfaces of the limbs, while the yin channels are on the anterior, the front, and the medial surface of the limbs. And then there are yang organs inside of our body, such as the small intestine, the large intestine, the stomach, the bladder, and they transform, digest, excrete these impure products of food and fluids, while the yin organs, which are the heart, the liver, the kidney, the spleen, the lung, they store the pure essences that we're able to obtain because of the actions carried out by the yang organs. So does that kind of make sense? Give me a thumbs up if you're okay. You're more than welcome at any point to type a question in the chat. If I don't get to it right away, I'll be sure to address it. Yeah, everyone's happy. I'm not scaring people away. Okay, good. Great. I could actually do a whole workshop on this topic alone. So do not feel bad if you're not exactly getting it all at once. Yes, there will be more acupuncture, Chinese medicine workshops in the future. Yes, so the next concept is the oneness of human and nature. Sorry, that's so gendered, but in ancient texts, it's always like man. So the oneness of human and nature. And so we are the product of nature, and we should coexist with nature and everything within it. So pretty straightforward, just like with yin and yang, it's all about harmony, being one with nature as a whole. We are not separate. So that's kind of what the grounding meditation at the beginning was all about. We're one with the earth. And so we can follow the internal law of nature through eating and living, work and exercise. And as the four seasons, geography, and social environment change, we could make these corresponding adjustments to live in harmony. And one way of doing this is through living with the seasons, eating with the seasons, nourishing the yang in the spring and the summer, while supporting the yin in the autumn and winter. Yeah? Okay, so healing holistically. So having this holistic view to health and wellness. So sort of stepping away from the Western and medical understanding and approach to health and disease, which is a very focused lens. Like, for example, if you have a bad heart, the Western doctors will be treating the heart and not really looking at anything else. But in TCM, our perspective is that the human body is composed of various tissues and organs, and these different parts are united as an organic whole. And this body, as a unified whole, is seen as being connected with the upper and the lower, as well as the internal and the external. So for example, if someone comes in with a bad heart, maybe it manifests as shortness of breath or palpitations, we'll ask them about everything. And they'll think we're weird because they're like, what does this have to do with anything? But we'll ask about, how's your sleep? Are you experiencing night sweats? Are you thirsty? What do your poos look like? That's the one that gets people really uncomfortable. Do you have any skin issues? Are you experiencing headaches? What emotion are you feeling right now? And from here, we could start to create a whole story of the bigger picture of what's truly going on here, right? So maybe the heart and the palpitations are just the branch symptoms to the real root of the problem. And then we'll treat the root of the problem through acupuncture, through massage, moxibustion, cupping, herbal medicine, food therapy. And then they're all used to calm the mind, to nourish the blood and qi, to regulate the spleen and stomach so that the rest of the organs are in harmony and balance. And then eventually symptoms will be relieved and slowly disappear naturally. Yeah. Okay. And then the last one I'll talk about is that prevention is key. So complying with nature, moderate work, taking lots of rest, healthy, diverse diet, proper living habits, all of this helps to maintain a healthy flow of qi. So the word qi means energy in your body, and helps maintain a balance between yin and yang. And all of this work that we'll be doing today is prevention of disease, so that we don't get to that point where we have to treat something wrong. We could just prevent the something wrong from happening. And I'll be giving you the tools to eating with the season and calming the mind with acupressure and meridian massage. So this is an important chart that we use a lot through Chinese medicine. And we have 5 elements: wood, fire, earth, metal, water. With every element, there is a season, a pathogen, a flavor or a taste, a color, and an organ that's related to these 5 elements. So let's start with spring. Let's start with wood. Wood is associated with spring. The pathogen is wind. So that means we're most susceptible to wind, being attacked by the wind and it entering our body and manifesting in different ways. The sour flavors are very supportive during the season. And the color green is the association with wood. And with the colors, you could eat green things to help nourish you during the spring season. And then the organ that's related to wood is liver. So then there's fire. Fire is related with the summer. The pathogen is heat. The flavor is bitter. The color is red. The organ is heart. So then we have earth. And then we have late summer that's associated with earth. And you might be wondering, what is the difference between summer and late summer? So late summer is in August, and maybe those hot days in September as well. So these are the long, endless days of summer, the best days in my opinion. And we're winding down and we start to find ourselves transitioning into the season of the metal element, the season of harvest. It's time to sort of like take stock in the celebration and abundance of summer, and allowing that to nourish our body and our mind. And so late summer, dampness, it's really humid during those days, right? And the flavor is sweet, the color is yellow, and the organ is spleen. And then we have metal, fall, dryness, pungent, white, and associated with the lung. And then there's the water for the winter, cold, salty, black, and the kidneys. Great. So we also have this emotional aspect to these elements. So for the wood season, the wood is associated with the liver, right? And you've heard of that, those angry livers. So when your liver is affected, the emotion of anger might come up. It's also, this season is associated with growth, movement, expansion. We could practice motivation and decisiveness and work on anger management. And so the fire season, there is a lot of joy. It's big yang energy. Heat feeds on the body fluids and harms the yin. So it's really important to keep hydrated, to really protect yourself from that heat. It's also important to find peace. I know that a lot of us are like so excited and like spreading ourselves so thin. We want to do it all, but we really need to focus on finding peace, cultivating emotional stability, because when you have big fire energy, you're just like, and like I'm already feeling that a lot these days. Yeah. And then there's the earth season. With earth, the spleen is associated with worry. So if your spleen is affected, you're worrying, you're overthinking. We have to focus on stress reduction, and it's the most important time for digestive health. And then there's metal and the lungs. The lungs are associated with grief. There's that decline of nature, supporting the inner composure and serenity in the body, focusing on immunity enhancement. That's where all of these pathogens are coming at us, allergies maybe in the fall. maybe getting colds from the heat to the cold weather change. And so we really have to focus on our immune system. And then there's water, winter associated with fear. That's like something that resonates with us, right? We're just like, winter's coming, and it's just like a scary idea sometimes. So we really have to take this time to focus on replenishment and nourishment, big yin energy. The chi just hides in the deep layers. So we have to work on like kind of embracing that and dissolving that fear, start taking up skiing or ice skating or whatever, and just like enjoy rolling around in the snow or something like that. Yeah, rest, lots of rest and hibernation during that time. Yeah. So does anyone have any questions of what I've been talking about so far? Did I miss any questions? No, right? Okay. Anyways, don't be shy. I'm going to continue, but always feel free to unmute yourself and ask anything you need to at any point. I'm not offended by any interruption. So we're going to move on to TCM nutrition. We'll be talking about some principles of food therapy, something called food energetics, and then how to thrive this summer. And so this is a nice quote. Dietary therapy should be the first step when one treats a disease. Only when this is unsuccessful should one try medicine. So there's this belief by Sun Si Miao, who's a very influential doctor of Chinese medicine. He really believes that the main thing is to nourish yourself with food, and that's where Chinese medicine begins. And if someone isn't nourishing themselves properly or treating their body right through food and liquids and drink, then they need to set that straight first before continuing with the other forms of treatment. So the 4 principles of TCM food therapy. Let's start with specific symptoms and concerns. And so, yeah, we have to take all of these 4 things into consideration when it comes to what foods we're choosing to put in our bodies and how to nourish our bodies. And because TCM is such an individualized medicine, the same diet will have different effects on different people. And not one food or diet plan for every individual will be the same, because we're exactly that. We're all individuals and we're unique in so many ways. We have different bodies. We really have to take all things into consideration. So of course we have to take the specific symptoms and concerns into consideration. So there will be different diseases and it'll manifest in so many different ways, so many different symptoms. It'll vary from a child to a pregnant person to an elderly person, and those symptoms will show up in different ways for each individual person. So taking those into consideration, and then personalization. So there's something called body constitution, and we need to eat in accordance with the body's constitution. So each of us, again, has a unique body constitution influenced by genetics as well as lifestyle, and then makes us more susceptible to certain conditions and illnesses. And just note that each of us might have several different constitutions present at the same time, but you could always focus on the one that feels the most prominent and target those imbalances first, and then work on the secondary constitutions. I don't have time to go over all of the types, but I'll just give you an example of one. So one constitution is called Qi deficiency, and this is actually a very common constitution. And so some characteristics include a lack of firmness in the muscles and weak limbs, fatigue and lack of energy, weak voice, shortness of breath, sweats easily without exertion, catches colds and flu easily, pale, lackluster complexion, sensitive to environments that are too cold or too hot, requires a long time to heal from illness, introverted, timid, not adventurous. And yeah, so that's the constitution that you might have been born with and also is affected by lifestyle. And another one is Qi stagnation constitution. And this one could mean emotionally stable, melancholy, suspicious, depressed, nervous, anxious, timid. There's frequent sighing, difficulty breathing deeply, heart palpitations, forgetfulness, brain fog, chest tightness, uncomfortable, stuck feeling in the throat. So like a blockage in the throat chakra. Responds poorly to stressful situations and mental stimulations, poor sleep, and dry stool that's hard to pass. And so, of course, it's like that's why I said that you might have a combination of different things, because it's not like you have to have all of these characteristics. But yeah, if you're interested in that, you could sort of Google and do your own research of just Google body constitutions, TCM, traditional Chinese medicine, and you'll see the different types. Yeah, and then there's seasonality and environment, which is, eating in accordance with the seasons that I've already touched on. And then the environment is that it's different depending on where you live in the world. So if you live on a tropical, beautiful island by the ocean, you might have a lot of damp heat in your body. Or maybe if you live in New York, very dry, there's a lot of stuff in the air in New York. I just came back from there, and just like after a day in New York and just blowing my nose, it's crazy what you find when you blow your nose. Anyways, so environment, sorry, that was a TMI, but yeah, environment is important too when you're thinking about food therapy. So there's something called the energetic thermal nature. And so this is the thermal nature of the food. And there's 5 types called cold, cooling, neutral, warming, and hot. And so all foods, each and every one of the foods that exist in the world, are assigned to a thermal nature in TCM. And it's not only related to the physical temperature, because the temperature can actually influence the thermal nature, but also the sensation our body feels after the consumption of certain foods. So there is hot and warm foods. So that's more yang energy. It warms and invigorates the body. And then there's cold and cool foods. That's yin energy. And that adds cooling and a more soothing effect. And so there's also neutral, stabilizes, it provides harmony in the body. And then, like I said, there's also like the cooking methods matter too, right? So if you don't cook the foods and they're vegetables, that's automatically cold. If you grill something, if you grill steak on the barbecue, there's so much fire. That's so much yang energy that you're adding to the foods, to the vegetables. Okay. And so, okay, more on the thermal nature. So hot increases the yang, speeds up the qi. So this means that if you're consuming hot foods, then it increases the yang, speeds up the qi, activates and moves upwards and outwards, eliminates external and internal cold, and mobilizes defense energy. And then with warm foods, it strengthens the yang and qi, warms the body, and strengthens the middle burner. The middle burner is exists within your body, and it's so hard to explain. It includes like the systems of the spleen and the stomach. It is involved in digestion, and it helps the connection between the upper, the middle, and the lower parts of this part of your body. I'm so sorry. That was a really bad explanation. So neutral foods build up qi and body fluids, and it helps stabilize and harmonizes the body. And then cool foods supplement body fluids and blood. It slows down the qi and clears the heat. And then there's cold foods that cools the internal heat and has a calming effect on the spirit. So this is just an example. If you just want to take a quick look and see what sort of fits underneath these categories. So of course, with the cooking and the combinations of the food, it affects like the overall thermal nature of the dish. So you see here, the shrimp is cold, but if you add all of these hot herbs, such as chili, curry, garlic, ginger, paprika, and pepper, which I use a lot in my cooking, then it affects the thermal nature of the shrimp. And then it depends on how you cook it as well. Yeah, and then there's also 5 flavors. And I mentioned it when I was talking about the different designations. And so the 5 flavors are bitter, salty, sour, sweet, and acrid or aromatic. So all foods are associated with a flavor in TCM, and it's closely related to that 5-element theory, that chart that I showed you. And it often aligns with the food's actual taste, but not always exactly the same. So the flavors of sweet and acrid are yang, where salty, sour, and bitter are more yin. And here are examples. So you just want to take a quick look. I'm going to take a sip of water. Yeah. So those are just examples of the different foods that fit into each category. So the 5 flavors, sweet is associated with the earth, spleen and stomach. It's great for supplementing, strengthening, harmonizing, relaxing, and moistening. The acrid flavor is associated with the metal, the lung, and the large intestine. And then it helps move, invigorate, disperses, and produces sweat. And then there's salt. So salt is water associated with kidney and bladder. It's great for cooling, moistening, softening, and loosening. And then there's sour, which is associated with the element of wood. Liver and the gallbladder is closely associated with this. It's astringent, gathering, preserving the yin fluids. And then there's bitter, associated with fire, heart and small intestine. It's great for drying, down bearing, like the digestive and excretion functions. And then there's seasonality. So now we're making these connections. Hopefully it's like starting to make a little more sense. So with the seasons, the spring season will want to have more sour foods. The colors are blue and green. We want to support the liver and the gallbladder. So maybe springtime is a good time to take those, what is that called? Dry March, dry April, to just help support the liver, help give that liver a little bit of a rest. And yeah, it's really good to eat those green foods during that season. And then there's summer, which is associated with the taste of bitter, supporting the heart, eating red colored foods, eating bitter foods. Late summer, again, is sweetness. Late summer is the most important for digestive health because it's associated with the spleen and the stomach. It's great to eat yellow foods. And then there's autumn with the acrid, and it's associated with lung, large intestine, and you could eat white foods during that time. Winter is salty. It's associated with the kidney and the bladder. It's good to eat black foods. And when I'm saying these colors and these flavors, of course, it's not expected for you to only eat sour, only eat greens. It's nice to just be mindful of those flavors and what flavors are supportive to those organs. Yeah. And so we could kind of just think about it more. And again, everyone has different constitutions, everyone has a different body. So just seeing what works with you. And the best thing to do is have a nice, diverse array. Eating the rainbow is what we say. So a lot of different colors, a lot of different foods, all of that stuff. But just being mindful, this is the season. It's summer now, I guess. It's summer now. We're thinking, what's a bitter food? We're thinking, what are my favorite red foods and how to support my heart during this time. So transitioning from spring to summertime. So spring wellness, we're talking practicing motivation, being decisive, reeling in that anger, or maybe expressing that anger, letting it go and allowing it to be out in the universe so that you could be less heavy. And so we're thinking liver-friendly foods. It's the wood element, sour. We could think sweet flavors as well. Yang and uprising foods, and then green and yang foods. And then we're going to slowly start to take little baby steps towards summer wellness. And during this season, we're really thinking about finding peace, maybe meditating more, cultivating emotional stability, journaling our emotions, allowing it to be released from the body, and really trying to be expressive in our emotions, but also creating boundaries and allowing yourself to sit in your feels if you need to, without any judgment from others. And then we're thinking about heart-friendly foods. We're thinking about the fire element. We're leaning towards bitter, light foods and mildly sour flavors because we're transitioning from the spring. So we'll go into the more mild sour flavors. We're thinking more calming and cooling foods. So I love spicy foods. It's been hard to not actively put sriracha and hot sauce on everything that I eat. But we really need to calm down just a little, like just try to take baby steps towards not eating too much spicy foods during the summer seasons. So we're thinking calming foods, we're thinking cooling foods, and we're also thinking red color foods. Yeah, so just a few questions here real quick. Whatever, I just wanted to check in. What is the percentage between the hot and cooked foods and the cold foods you eat? Does that ratio change depending on what the season is? And what's your favorite foods to eat in the summertime? So just something to think about. Like right now, if you want to like pop that into the chat, if you want to think about it. Yeah, Simon eats way more raw veggies in the summer. Using the grill. Yeah. Yum, yum, yum. Yeah, so let me know whatever comes to mind with these, with your answers, with these prompts. I am aware of the time, so I know I always go over time, but I'm gonna try to end on time. Yes, watermelon in the summertime. I love that. My niece has been asking me, when are we having watermelon? Craving more salads in the summer for sure. That's great. So in general, throughout all the seasons, I know a lot of in the Western health magazines, I guess, they're always like healthy foods or a smoothie and a salad and eating raw so that you get all of the nutrients from this fresh raw vegetable. But actually doing that adds a lot of cold in your body. And I find a lot of people who are like very health conscious, very like, I'm going to eat all the healthy foods. They have a lot of digestive problems. Their bowel movements aren't the healthiest. And so just sort of being aware how much like the ratio is between the cooked and the cold foods that you eat is actually a game changer. And then just comparing that to how you feel in your digestive system, through your bowel movements and all that. I try to refrain from drinking smoothies all throughout the year, but when there's a summertime when it's really hot, then I start to introduce, frozen mangoes in a smoothie, frozen bananas, stirring it all up and having that in the morning. The ratio between cooked and cold foods in Chinese medicine should be 80% cooked, around 80% cooked, and then 20% cold foods or less. I think 10 to 20, 80 to 90. So just being aware of that, and but also knowing that it depends on your constitution as well. So if your body is okay to receive all of those cold foods, then that might mean that you have a lot of heat in your body, or you have a lot of yang energy in your body. So let's see. Definitely eat more fruit, more raw foods in the summer, but more cooked foods during the rest of the year. Sensitive to cold temperatures, so I like being warm from the inside. Yes. Overall, no matter the season, I tend to eat more hot foods compared to cold. Yeah. Same. I started doing that as well once I got into this program, because I was of the idea of like raw food. Look at me eating this whole cucumber. And yeah, it was really a game changer. So let me just see what I have here. Oh boy. Okay. Here are some summer TCM tips. Heart-friendly foods, red-colored foods, we're thinking tomatoes. There's antioxidants in the strawberries, raspberries, pomegranate juice, cranberry juice. And then other foods that are good for your heart are dark chocolate, matcha, and green tea. So maybe switching out your coffee for matcha or green tea. There's mung beans, there's azuki beans. And then for the bitter, mild, bitter, light, mildly sour flavors, stay away from the spicy foods. Try not to eat so much sweet foods. Avoid alcohol, fried foods, iced coffee, dairy-based ice cream. So all of those things I eat a lot of in the summertime, right? CNE, all of the fried foods. I love like an iced Vietnamese coffee. I love standing in line for an hour for the hottest ice cream shop. So we're gonna have to just be mindful of our intake and just like maybe do ice cream once. I was gonna say once a day. Once every 3 days. Like just like see, like just to negotiate with yourself, see what feels good, right? Because you still want to have joy in the summertime. So I'm not saying like hard no, but just like thinking about it, being intentional. Not the iced coffee. Yeah. So we're also thinking more calming and cooling foods. So water-filled fruits and veggies. So that means melon, celery, cucumbers, and lettuce. Avoid warming foods. Again, unfortunately, ginger, cinnamon, garlic. I never listened to that. I need to have my ginger and garlic because I'm Filipino. But yeah, again, doing those negotiations, seeing if like, oh, my stomach hurts, and maybe it's because you're eating all this like ginger and garlic. And then don't grill all of your foods. I know my partner is just like, I'm gonna cook in the summertime, and he just like grills everything. So just thinking about how much fire is added to all the foods. Again, just being mindful. Here is the summer's recommended food list. I'm gonna ask if it's okay for me to share these slides with you, just so that I don't have to name all the foods. But if you just want to take a quick glance right here, we'll share the slides and just have a cute little glance here about the summer's recommended food list. Okay. And then how to thrive this summer. So really just trying not to overthink things, choose foods that are local and in season. So when in doubt, just eat the rainbow. It's so nice to have those beautiful, colorful dishes. And whenever I have that in front of me, I just always want to take a picture and just stare at it for a little bit before I consume it. Be aware of how much ice, cold foods and ice beverages and raw foods and ice cream that you're consuming. So like, yeah, so raw and cold foods could really block the stomach's digestive energy. The idea with the stomach is that there's a fire that you're stoking in your stomach. So with these cold foods, you're just like putting out that fire. So if you're drinking ice cold water, if you're having all of this ice cream every day, you might start to notice that it hurts or something. So just, just using your intuition and just knowing that like, okay, it might hurt or I might not feel healthy because I'm having too much ice cold stuff in my body. So subbing your coffee for tea. This might be a hard one for some. Green tea is a very ideal beverage during the summer heat. And so also trying something called chrysanthemum tea. I want to add this to the chat. Chrysanthemum tea, and just Google where you could get that. And then just eat with joy in a relaxed atmosphere. I know that a lot of the times when we're eating alone, it's easy to just like, you know, be like, I'm going to catch up on a show, or I'm going to catch up on emails while I'm eating. But just try to eat more mindfully, or eat with people that you love. You don't have to talk, like, you don't have to like talk while you're consuming. Save that for before or after the meal. Just like enjoy each other's company and silence as you eat. That's like a romantic thing for me, whether with friends or without it. I love that when the food comes and then everyone's just silently eating. It's very sweet. So yeah, eat with joy. Self-massage. I'm gonna cover this in 2 minutes. So TCM self-massage techniques. There's acupressure and then there's gua sha. So acupressure, we're using fingers, we're using our palms, we're using our elbows. We're applying pressure to the acupoints on meridian channels. And it really helps regulate the flow of energy and the energy channels or the meridians. So it helps the flow of qi in the meridian channels. And so gua sha, like I mentioned with those tools, it's an ancient practice that uses smooth edged tool to scrape the areas of your body. It could be a gentle way to improve circulation. It could be used cosmetically, or it could be deep and vigorous to target those underlying muscles, those tendons, those fascia, and release the heat. And so a lot of the times when we're using gua sha in the clinic, we'll use it on the back or we'll use it on like the legs. And it looks like Wolverine like attacked our back. Like there's red streaks that are coming down. So that's the deep and vigorous way to target those deep muscles. Yeah. Literally looks like Wolverine from the X-Men attacked me. Okay, let's see what I have here. Oh my goodness. I'm so sorry. If you guys are okay to go over 5 minutes, that would be nice. 5 or 10 minutes. If not, I'm so sorry. And we will have more workshops, like I said, that will cover self-massage techniques, because I think it's a very important tool to have in your toolbox. Okay, so we're going to start with the heart and small intestine meridian. And this is, again, right, the summer season. It's associated with the heart and the small intestine. So I'm going to stand for this just to show you that the heart meridian starts in the armpit, right in the middle of the armpit, and it goes all along the line on the pinky side. So look at we could start with the pinky inside and just start to trace from the inside of the pinky to the inside of the forearm, the inside of the elbow, and all the way up. So we're not going to massage the armpit. And we could also leave out the bicep for now. So right now we're going to focus from this like elbow crease on the pinky side all the way down to the pinky. And the first technique that we could do is just, so starting from right underneath the elbow crease, we could push down, squeeze, and release. Push down, squeeze, and release. Push down, And just gentle squeezes. I'm so sorry. And just sort of moving up the channel and going down here. So let me stop share for a moment, just if you don't know how to do that. And we're just going to massage gently down the heart meridian. And you could even go on the inside of the palm and squeeze the pinky tip. Just moving like that, nice and gently. And this could be very nice and lovely and calming. And just breathing with intention. You could continue to do that, or you could start to, if you have the gua sha materials, you could put some oil on the inside of the forearm. And we could use, I'll use this little cap thing. So you could place it on the table, but I'm just going to hold it up so you could see. And we're going to hold on to the cap if you have one, and just gently with firm pressure, scrape down the channel. If you're using your gua sha tool, scraping down the channel, you might notice some redness. And that is actually what we want. And we're just scraping down. Very nice. Beautiful stuff. We could switch arms if you want to keep things even. You're either squeezing all the way down to the pinky, or you could use that oil on the inside and scrape from the elbow crease down the wrist. Let me know if you want to unmute, if you have any questions about this at all. And you could just continue to do that while we talk a little bit. I don't think it's too important to talk about the small intestine. Right now, I think that it's really nice to focus on the heart channels during this season. And we could also just focus on brushing the inside and dispelling any sort of uncomfortable things. If you have a heavy heart, you want to calm down your emotions, we could just sort of brush it away and into the room around us. There's many different techniques. We could do both simultaneously using our thumbs, squeezing. I'll show you one point called Heart 7. And again, pinky side. And then right underneath here, under this, you might find a little bone right on top of this wrist crease. This is Heart 7. And we're just going to massage here. This is really great if you have problems sleeping. If you have insomnia problems, you could totally just lie in bed, massage this nice and firmly, nice little circles here, or you could press down and release. Press down and release. That's beautiful. You could do the other side. This really helps with calming the spirit, sorry. So that's the heart. I also wanted to mention pericardium 6. I think I've done this before plenty of times in the Trapsoul yoga events. So measure with 3 fingers from the wrist crease. And from here, you just find right underneath the last finger and then place your thumb there. I'm just massaging here. This is also very good for nausea. So the pericardium is the protector of the heart, and this point is really good for insomnia. It's good to calm the spirit, but it's also really, really great if you're feeling nauseous. So that might come up during the summer seasons, feeling nauseous. Massaging that. Beautiful stuff. And then oh, sorry, I'm not sharing the screen. So that's pericardium 6. And then there's large intestine 11, which is on the side where the thumb is. And you just trace it along here to the elbow crease. So a good way to do this is to flex your arm like this. And the point where the crease sort of ends, right here, this tip, you might push down on it and it might be really tender. So just relaxing now once you've found your point. Again, on the thumb side, tracing all the way down, and then doing this, finding the tip of this little crease, and then just massaging large intestine 11 with this. This is the best point to release any heat that's built up in your body. If you have fire in your body, we're just going to massage that. And the way that you would notice heat and fire in your body is if you actually physically feel hot, if you're sweating, if you have a red face, if you have thirst, a dry mouth, if you have red eyes. So you could just close down the eyes, massage that LI, large intestine 11. Okay, and then there is large intestine 4, and you could find that right here. So it's just that the fatty part in between your thumb and your index finger. And this is such a sick point. So this point is really beautiful if you're experiencing any pain whatsoever, any pain. So if you're experiencing pain in the head, headaches, if you have a backache, if you have any sort of acute or chronic pain, you could just massage this point and see how it makes you feel. And then again, with headaches might come up a lot in the summertime. I don't know if that resonates with you, but you could massage that point just by squeezing, maybe doing little circles, or just squeezing and releasing, squeezing and releasing. Yes. Oh, yeah, that's a really great point for headaches, actually. This is another great point for headaches, of course. This one, the third eye. And then gallbladder 20, which is the occiput, like where the skull meets the neck. And there's 2 little dips underneath there. And you could just use your thumbs to push and release, or just use your thumbs all along underneath the occiput. Okay. This is also very good to just calm the Shen in general, calm the spirit. Massage that third eye. And I am so sorry. I actually thought that this workshop was 90 minutes long, but I will give you these slides. I don't have time to do prompts, but here are some beautiful resources. This is the cookbook, 5 Elements cookbook by one of my teachers, Zoe Gong. And this book is beautiful. It's so beautiful. It just explains a lot of the important traditional Chinese medicine foods. So like the first half is information. The second half is recipes. And then there's a podcast that I included there, a really great blog called 5 Seasons TCM, great IG accounts. Follow Treatment by Lanshin if you're interested in cosmetic acupuncture or self-massage. I'm so bad with time management, and I deeply apologize for not giving you the full self-massage experience, but you could find a lot of demonstrations and a lot of videos on that IG account. If you're interested in traditional Chinese medicine theories, then a great intro is Between Heaven and Earth by Korngold and Benfield. It just like really talks about it in simple terms. And then of course there's Braiding Sweetgrass. Such a beautiful book. It's not rooted in Chinese medicine, but it just really, really gives you perspective of how beautiful food is and how connected we are to the earth, to the foods. And it's by an indigenous writer. I cry thinking about it. So again, I apologize for my time management skills, and I hope everyone benefited from this information. I could talk about this for hours, so please let me know on our Villij, Inner Village apps what you liked, what you want to see more of, all of the things. You could DM me on Instagram. I'm pretty good with answering. Yay. I'm sorry to keep you for so long, and I hope everyone had a nice time.
Thank you, Denise. That was so wonderful.
Good.
Thank you, everyone who joined us tonight. We really appreciate you all being here. Yeah, so thank you guys again for being here. And just a little nighttime reminder that you all deserve to be well. Thank you again, Denise.